D12 Chief Meteorologist Matt Report.
Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11, right here on Nooga Radio.
For your small business, ending the year the right way can set you up for success come January. No need to let end-of-year panic set in. Easy Books and Taxes can help set up your books or new payroll service so that you can relax and enjoy the holiday season. With 35 years, bookkeeping, individual, and business tax preparation, it's easy. With Easy Books and Taxes, you run the business, we keep the books. Call us today at 423-755-0821.
92.7 Nooga Radio.
That means we're back. We're back from a break in the weekend. We're back with another beautiful day here in the city of Chattanooga. Another day to make something happen, to kickstart your week in a wonderful mood, a great direction, with hopefully some joy, with some peace, with some rest, recuperation, with positive thoughts, implementations to make this one of the best weeks you've ever had. And even if today doesn't turn out being the best day, it's okay. Because that means if you wake up tomorrow, then it's another day to try and make it the best day, best week possible. Again, it's Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. Y'all know what it is. Housekeeping rules. As always, if you want to call and chop it up with me, 800-8949. If you can't call in, do not hesitate to drop a comment. I'm streaming live on my personal Facebook as well as Nooga Radio 92.7 FM Facebook page and YouTube. Like our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and stay up to date with what it is that we're doing, where we're at. Because it's not just me. I have a team here. And so you want to tune in to people like David Toulis. If you want to start your morning off, then you need to listen to Russell Stroud and Val in the morning so they could tell you what's going on in the city as far as traffic updates and police information. So tune in, Nooga Radio 92.7. And today, given that last week I had, after putting months of endless pressure on city council, after comments and jabs from ill-equipped leaders, taking jabs at me, taking jabs at people like Isaiah Moore, people constantly taking jabs at good men like Christopher Dahl, taking jabs at Conservative Citizens for Justice, taking jabs at David Toulis. After months of taking jabs, eventually the thing that I know is that people are going to crumble under this pressure because I just won't stop. Short of death and Pneuma, the life of God, just being stripped out of my body because it's my time, I can't let up because I'm tired of looking around and seeing so many instances of injustice, and a lot of that happening at the hands of leaders as well as the police department. And you know, the interesting thing is that all of these folks are on our payroll. All of these folks are on taxpayers' payrolls. And like, could they go to work in any other circumstance? Could they go to work, perform poorly, talk back to their employers? I want you to think about this because they love using this during campaign season. Oh, we want the people to hire us. But isn't it funny that after we do hire you, then you talk crazy and mistreat us? What job can you go on and talk crazy to your employer? Are y'all ready for me to be real? What job can you go on and talk crazy to the people who employ you and you keep that job? And yet, sometimes I feel that we take these lashings from leadership, and I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm ready for the fight back. I'm trying to tap into the fight back because I'm fed up with what I see. I'm fed up of paying people to not do right by me and the rest of my constituents, which are those who are listening, those who are not. If you're my neighbor, guess what? Then people in power should be doing right by you. And why should they be doing right by you? Well, if you're living and you're breathing, you have certain unalienable rights guaranteed to us by documents like the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. This whole nation supposedly was founded on republic ideas that guarantee the individual civil rights and liberties of the person. And we're going to talk about the fight back, and in particular against police, because after meeting with the mayor week before this past week, and then meeting with Police Chief Roddy, change, if it's a slow pace, slow progress at all, it's probably never going to happen. So my purposes of meeting with individuals was to legitimately see, do they have a plan, a vision, an idea of what to do with the complaints that they continue to receive about how things are being handled in the city. And so when you sit across the table from the chief of police, the person that's solely responsible for an entire department, and you just keep it real, sir, I continue to see instances of African Americans, in particular poor people, be brutalized, targeted by your police officers, called the N-word. I'm dealing with one now who has fractured ribs because of being slammed on the ground by the Chattanooga Police Department. Woke up this morning, had an inbox of another man. It's every week, every other week, I'm having somebody new reach out to me about our Chattanooga Police Department. Did we forget that maybe just 3 weeks ago, at the hands of our Hamilton County Sheriff, they tased the man to death? They tased the man to death. They tased a human being to death. They electrocuted him. I'm not against police officers, but I'm against a culture that I continue to see that targets people in poverty and people of color. And how are we, human beings, comfortable seeing instance after instance? We had a 14-year-old, then we had women step forward accusing officers of rape that stretched back several years. More and more compiled instances. A person supposedly commits suicide. And then the story that comes out after the made-up CPD story, the officer involved in the shooting contradicts what the department states. Are we paying attention? And where is the mayor? Some of us feel so good because the mayor showed up to an event of ours and spoke. He spoke to our children, or he spoke to our pastor, or he spoke to this person. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with inspiration, but in that same space, how can you not hold the mayor accountable? If the mayor came to an event of yours, how are you not holding the mayor accountable for how he's cutting you out of the process? And especially if he's coming and speaking to children, how police officers who are under his leadership are often targeting inner city youth as well. A 14-year-old got dragged out of their mother's car by their wrist, and you get in a room with the mayor, and you're googly-eyed by him in his presence, and somehow when all of this stuff happens, he's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. He's not at the city council meeting. When we get fed up with a project, a $6 million taxpayer investment in a YFD center ran by somebody who stole money, I'm sorry, I just got to be real. Involving someone who stole $30,000 from the city of Chattanooga and funneled it to their daughter's charity. and it's an uproar, he doesn't come to the city council meeting. He sends people in his cabinet. What type of leadership is this? If people like Councilman Ledford will say that the city of Chattanooga and all of its entities, such as the legislative body that we call the city council, is a business, if it is a business, how does the business fail and the CEO does not make it out in front to be accountable for what is going on? And so I've drawn the conclusion, and I knew it before I walked in. Self-defense and citizens' rights and actions is the only way. The people deserve peace. I deserve peace. I deserve to come in my neighborhood, on my street, and to have peace. I deserve to not be surveilled. I deserve to not be racially profiled. I deserve to be left alone unless you see me committing a crime. Come on. Unless you see me committing a crime, I deserve to be left alone. So no matter what I'm wearing, no matter how I look or how you perceive me, if I'm not injuring somebody and I'm not committing a crime, I deserve to be left alone. Let's look at it, because I don't think, and this is how we can make it super real. This is how we make, I'm going to humanize police brutality for you. The bloody catalog. That's what I'm going to call it. The bloody catalog. And this is only up to 2009, thanks to my CCJ family. And I hope we'll have some time to update this list soon. The bloody catalog of the Chattanooga Police Department. Let's start. William Hendricks, Oscar Owens, Thomas David Smith, John Howard Ray, Daryl Melvin, Adrian Carter, John Perry, Wadey E. Suttles, Leon Shipley, Mark LeBron Barnes, George Lee Brown, Claiborne William Owens, Rosalind Bradford, Walter McPherson, Benny Silvers, Gerald Charles Rogg, Ricky Thompson, Robert Wayne McDade, James Guffey, Catherine Forrester, Becky Henson, Michael LeBron Earls, Richard Christensen Elms, Hayden Price, Larry Powell, Tony Randall Swain, Clarence B. Hatcher, Crawford Elmo Watkins, Benny Lewis, Tabron Tyrone Ball, Doris M. Severs, Daniel Pierce, William H. Long, George Weathers, John Amons, Montrell Collins, Kevin McCullough, James LeBron Hurt, Samuel Petty, Joshua Hurd, Richard Hatcher, Samuel A. Held, James Harold Brooks, Leonard Raydell Pam, Taurus Harris, John Eric Henderson, Brandon Antonio Miller, Lester Von Prater, Ricky Lee Jones, Michael Kyle, James Jimmy Lindsay, James F. Taylor, Randy Crisp, John Curtis Coates, Alonzo O. Kelly, Alonzo Hayward, Richard Lamarck Dunn, Jamal Sprawling, William K., Jason Logan, Armetta Foster, Philip Dale Ellis. These are the people who have died at the hands or in custody of the Chattanooga Police Department from 1978 until 2009. And I guarantee you the body count did not stop. It did not stop. And when I asked the police chief, because, well, Councilman Henderson and Councilman Byrd, two men who have never spoken to me at any of the city council meetings, whether I address the council or not, who've never even approached me to shake my hand and offer me any sort of acknowledgement, thought it necessary to involve themselves in a meeting that they didn't even set up. And interesting enough, Anthony Byrd actually for once decided maybe to step up and involve himself in something that concerns me as my council person. And they ask, is there any sort of compromise? Can we come to an agreement? And I told them, no. There is no way. Because unfortunately, with the municipal cop, unlike the duly elected sheriff, we have no control over the municipal cop. And unless we have a mayor with a backbone, a spine, or a care for the people, then he or she, whoever it was or will be in the future, they don't care about the people, or they only care about certain kinds of people. Then the reality is that we're going to continue to have these issues, and it never should be a situation where the power is out of the people's hands. And the only way that we have, only course of action is to rebel. It should be a situation to where we have some control, some sort of balancing of power. And so if I know that we're looking at 63 individuals from between 1978 and 2009, and it's 2018, almost 2019, I can only imagine how many names we do not know who should be on this list of the bloody catalog of people who died in custody or at the hands of the Chattanooga Police Department. And for it to be a situation to where the only thing that I could say is that it's time for Chattanooga to wake up and do like Nashville and not wait too late like Nashville and have a situation where we have a Jacques Clement or Daniel Hambrick. And people are so terrified by interactions with police officers that they run, which I never advocate for, that they run and they get shot in the back. That's happened twice in about 9 to 10 months in Nashville alone. 2 different officers, 2 different time periods, same scenario. I feared for my life and my safety, even though the person was running in the opposite direction. And I shot them in the back like a coward. I don't want to wait. People are already afraid of the police department. And according to the police chief, people just need to come forward. But we've done that. And you find that you, as a citizen who should be freer than the city cop, you should have more rights than the city cop. When you are accused of committing a crime, you get arrested on the spot. It's not the same type of situation with our Chattanooga Police Department. On the contrary, even if you file an internal affairs complaint, it's got to go through at least 6 to 7 people before it'll even make it to the police chief's desk. And that's only going to be because of recommendation from the people prior to. So if we have people who believe that putting their hands on children is okay, if we have people believe that fracturing citizens' ribs is okay, then it's no surprise that even though a lot of people do complain and people do come forward, that nothing really changes. And if you got to take it through 6 people, several levels, different steps before it even makes it to the police chief, and even then the police chief gets to decide whether or not he recommends that officer to be charged for a crime and will pass that information forward to the district attorney, then you see how the scheme and the game continues to be played. That the intent is never for any of these officers to be brought to justice unless there is people power and people pressure. If we rejoice that what happened in Chicago, finally the young man, Laquan, who got shot by the police officer 16 times and had never put his hands on the man. The only reason the video came forward, the only reason that officer got brought to justice was because of community activists and endless pressure. And we just can't afford to let up. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment because we're going to talk about it, self-defense and citizens' actions and how to fight back and put endless pressure not only on the Chattanooga Police Department, but our council as well as our mayor. And we must do the work that has to be done. Why? Because the people deserve to have some peace. And we're going to have some peace. Our children are going to have peace. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment of the Movie Mott Show.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
Someone called 911 reporting shots fired at the Raceway on Broad Street. A woman was seen fleeing the scene in a car that reportedly did not belong to her. When the police and firefighters arrived, however, they discovered that no shots had actually been discharged. They determined that through talking with witnesses at the scene. That woman who fled was later found and interviewed, charges reportedly pending. McCamey Animal Center is offering a reward for any info on who dumped several sickly puppies near railroad tracks. They were found near Lightfoot Mill Road. A $500 reward offered for any info that leads to an arrest. Traffic delays coming soon. Ashland Terrace is going to be closed for over a month at Red Bank, as the city's engineering firm says the city's been advised to repair a culvert on Ashland Terrace at Dayton Boulevard. Construction starts on Wednesday. It'll continue into December. You may want to map out an alternate route to prepare. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Cash, and more cash. Get 8.1% return on your money. Rick Davis can turn your cash into real money. Gold and silver bullion. American Eagle Gold. The banks give you a measly 1.9%. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll get 8.1% return on your money. 8.1% return on your money. Wow! Whether you're buying an ounce or 100 ounces, Rick guarantees it in writing. 8.1% Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
Even if you like your job, there are some things that can drive you nuts. Like the anonymous coward who steals your lunch from the break room fridge. Or maybe Tyler, the IT guy, who gives you that condescending look when you tell him that your computer is acting up again, as if somehow it's your fault. You put up with these clowns every single day. But what happens when you've had enough? That's the day you decide to retire. At least that's the hope, right? But will you be able to retire? Can you afford to retire? That's why you need to talk to Ron and Christy Adams at One Family Financial. They can't do anything about Cody, that moron who heats up fish in the microwave, but they can strategize with you on how to get the most out of your 401k or pension, how to grow your money without losing your shirt in the market, and how to help make your money last in retirement. Talk to Ron and Christy today about whether you'll be ready to retire when you finally had it with seeing Ethan walk out of the bathroom again without washing his hands. Gross. Call Ron and Christy Adams at One Family Financial, 423-710-2009. 423-710-2009.
I'm Bo Watson, and I approve this ad.
This is Hamilton County Mayor Jim Coppinger. Here in Hamilton County, we have been working hard to build a stronger, more vibrant area. Bo Watson has been an integral part of that growth. Bo Watson has been listening to our needs, working to make it happen. Bo Watson is committed to bringing jobs, education, and safety to the forefront of Hamilton County. Bo knows he has a plan, and it's a priority he takes seriously. Vote for Bo Watson for Tennessee's future.
Paid for by friends of Bo Watson, Boy W. Watson III, Treasurer, VoteForTennessee.com.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Join We've Got You Covered with Scott Schrader every Saturday from 10 to 11 on Nooga Radio. From finance to fixtures, we discuss everything you need to know about buying or owning a home, the pitfalls, the perks, and everything in between. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11, right here on Nooga Radio.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Warming up out there for your afternoon with lots of sunshine. Quite nice. Highs lower to middle 60s. Tonight, fair. Not as cold. Lows 42 to 45. For Tuesday, mostly sunny. Highs near 70 with more sunshine back at the mid 60s Wednesday. Control your diabetes with the help of Hamilton Diabetes and Endocrinology Center. Now in Dalton and Ringgold. For more, their number 706-278-1622. And I'm Soren Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
What can we do? What must be done? Well, hopefully we understand that just sitting by watching these incidents happen isn't good enough. And those who don't know history are doomed to what? Repeat it. 800-8949 if you want to call and talk to me. But let me read this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. You see, we know that first part, that all men are created equal. We know that first part, that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights, and those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We know that first part. But the part that we may not have heard is that these are secured rights. Governments are instituted among men, but they are derived from the just powers and the consent of the governed. What does that mean? That yes, we do have institutions of government that are among men, that only derive their powers from the permission of the people. And that whenever these forms of government become destructive, meaning that they prevent a happy life, with liberty that it is our job and the right of the people to alter, which means to change. Or if we can't change it, because we've been trying to change or reform, we love that word a lot, reform these systems that we have a further right to abolish these institutions and to make a new form of government. Lord, have mercy. Pass the collection plate. Do we know how much power we have? According to the Declaration of Independence, we are doing the diplomatic thing, right? Seeking reform, having conversations about reform. But if we find that maybe it's impossible to reform the institutions that have been made among men, that according to our founding fathers, it is the right of the people to tear down these institutions with our bare hands and to erect something fresh and something new that is based on the original principles that we first set out to secure. Are y'all with me? 800-8949 if y'all want to call and talk to me. But step number one, since we got to have some steps. Step number one is whenever the police come into your neighborhood, if you yourself find yourself being targeted, harassed by the Chattanooga Police Department in an instance, I not only encourage, but I implore you, record the incident. Record the incident. And before you file an internal affairs complaint, go down on a Tuesday night, 6:00, to the city council meeting. And when it becomes evident, because more and more people have the courage to not just file an internal affairs complaint, but decide that we're going to start holding the mayor and the city council, the folks responsible for our new police chief. You see, when I say that we've tried reformation, we have tried that. We decided that we weren't going to hire anybody from halfway across the country to come govern our Chattanooga Police Department. We were going to do that within the ranks. And now we see this military, white, misogynistic attitude towards the poor and the people of color. To where it's even so evident, and police officers are so bold, they'll start calling people the N-word because they know nothing will happen to them. Nothing drastic enough that will strip them of their badge and their right to police these same people that they abuse. And they asked me, Marie, can we come to an agreement? I said, no. No, we can't. We were promised reform. I've yet to see that. I haven't seen a physical example of that. If in any of these instances where officers are contradicting what the Chattanooga Police Department puts out in the eyes of the public, folks, what's to be concluded of this except that we're governed and brutalized by liars? It's time for community oversight into the police, and not the fake community board that they have existing right now. Because I asked an important question, as my daddy says, stupidity is doing the same things over and over and expecting the results to be different. Oh, I see Assistant Police Chief is tuning in today. Police Chief Scruggs. I'm glad you're listening. You see, that's how I know I'm causing trouble. When you got the people tuning in. Mercy, mercy me. the fake community board that they have right now has police officers on it. That defeats the purpose. I don't think we truly need to understand what's in the mind of police officers. I think what they need to understand is how the people feel. And what do the people think? And the people should have some level of influence as well as access to the information of officers' history and be able to take that into an account when they offer counsel to a police chief or the mayor or the city council and say, well, we concluded amongst ourselves after we looked at this person's personnel file and see that they've had 10 internal affairs investigations or complaints come forward in the last 2 years, and this person beat somebody. Yeah, they need to be charged criminally. They have history. See, the problem is not that we don't have access to information like that. The police chief said, well, you can find out what the history of an officer is, and that's not the problem. The problem is that we don't have any influence because the municipal cop is not under the leadership or not up under the power of the people, because we do not duly elect the cop. We elect a sheriff. We can't put a squeeze on the officers, which leaves the people very, very helpless. To where it's almost as if they just want us to wait until the next name is added to the bloody catalog of the Chattanooga Police Department. Did you know that you have a right to resist arrest if you feel that it is unlawful? Do you know that you, the citizen, if you so choose, that you have a right to meet a police officer's force with force if your life is threatened? Now, that's a dangerous thing. I'm not advocating for that. But I'm saying, did you know that the citizen still, if we stack up the evidence, the citizen still has more rights than the police officer? We've talked about it before when we talked about the 5th and the 6th Amendment. That nobody should deter you from life, liberty, property without due process. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Do you know why you can resist force with force?
Say that again. I can't really hear you.
Do you know why you can resist force with force?
Talk to me. Tell me what.
I talked to David Tools about this earlier. The police have no more authority than you or me.
That's right.
The term cop means citizen on patrol. That the sheriff is the one to enforce criminal prosecutions under statute. The local police, and the Supreme Court's ruled this, is an instrument of the local corporate municipality. That's who they serve, with no authority to enforce statute, but ordinance that is not criminal. I don't even know that they're lawfully allowed to any police department carry firearms, because they can carry firearms. Did you get that?
Say that again. I'm sorry, you cut out.
They can carry firearms to the degree that you and I can. The sheriff is the one that's elected. It wasn't by accident that we have. Why do we have two separate law enforcement agencies? Did that happen by accident? No, because the sheriff is to enforce statute. The sheriff is to enforce the common law. The sheriff elected by the people. The municipal cop protects the interest of that corporation and has no more power than you and me.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. So we see right here, good folks, if you weren't listening or you weren't turning in, hey, can somebody feedback? I do apologize. We have some construction going on here at the the radio station. But I will say that is an excellent question. If you didn't hear Mike Steele, the question was, why do we have two separate policing agencies in cities? If the sheriff is constitutionally bound, right, and is there to protect the individual civil liberties and rights of the people, let me ask an even bigger question. Where is the sheriff? How is the sheriff, who has all of the power, who could stop a federal investigation if he so chose? How is the sheriff not in an uproar about how his citizens are being treated? Tough questions today, but it's time for the people to fight back. You have a right not only to resist arrest, but you have a right to arrest a police officer. If you see a police officer beating somebody, that officer should be tackled and put in handcuffs himself. Absolutely. And I told the police chief, and I was very, very intentional. I was very, very intentional in my explanation of what I had to say. And that was that, sir, I don't think most people understand, unless you're in a marginalized group or you're doubly marginalized by being a person of color and in poverty. I don't think most people understand what it's like to be African American or a person of color, that often the conversations of your adolescency is conversations about how you should maneuver throughout the world. This double consciousness that I talked about last week with W.E.B. Du Bois, of constantly having to look at yourself through the eyes of the world and rarely being able to go out into this world and be yourself without always somebody looking at you with suspicious eyes. It's tough. I don't think you understand what it feels like to have a conversation with your parents about how you need to interact with police, because one false move with your cell phone could be seen as an act of trying to take someone's life, and they won't notice until they've riddled your body with 5 bullets that all you had in your hand is a cell phone or your wallet. And now you're dead. And maybe, if you're lucky, your family may get some monetary compensation, but it doesn't bring you back. Those are the conversations we have over dinner. Those are the conversations we have at get-togethers. When you go out into the world, don't look an officer into the eyes. Look down as if you are less than them. Look down. Don't make any sudden moves. Say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, even if you're completely in the right. We are trained and conditioned to be subservient. And nowhere in the Declaration of Independence or in the Constitution do I see any theory, any cause, any foundation of the people being anything less than what God made them, or expect to be treated anything less than what God made them. It says that I was endowed by God with certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, happiness. How does the municipal cop, who's not bound by the Constitution, wouldn't even know it if you asked him? Oh, yes, the police chief ensures we swear to uphold the law. And if I asked him to tell me the Bill of Rights, I guarantee you he'd struggle to talk. which not only makes you a hypocrite, but a liar. I can almost guarantee you. What's just the Bill of Rights? 10 amendments. Give me 10. Give me 5. I'm sure he couldn't do it. I'm sure his officers couldn't do it. How are you upholding things you don't know? How do I know you're upholding things you don't know? Well, if it's a situation like Avery Gray's daughter, where a sheriff should be involved in the repossession of a private citizen's items, a sheriff should be involved. How did a municipal cop take it upon himself while other police officers, and here's how I know the culture hasn't changed. Besides the fact of the little fake community board the police department has been in existence for 10 or 15 years. Well, if ain't much changed in 10 or 15 years, we've had people like Michael Wanger physically assault 3 African-American men, coerced one by torture into a confession for a murder that he didn't commit. Didn't lose his job, but got a promotion. How is it that this change that we are seeking or we're promised or are hoping or looking for is ever going to come? And if I see in all of these videos, these instances where if police officers weren't already at the scene, they show up and they don't show up and say, "Sir, ma'am, how can I help you? What's going on? Explain to me, talk to me and tell me what's happening." And in an instance like Noel McLemore, who was just at his own business, taking a drag of a cigarette before he was illegally searched and pressured by a Chattanooga police officer. When the other officer showed up and found this was true, he could arrest the other officer. But do you see that happen? If they're not already themselves somewhat mesmerized, stunned by the actions of their comrades. You have people who stand and watch with badges and guns and watch these situations unfold. And if they don't watch, they participate. Where is the good people, the good officers? Where are they? I'm missing them. Rarely have I seen one. Because even the good one will adhere to his fraternal order, which is to protect the brotherhood at all cost. That means the cost of the people. You have a right to resist arrest. As a matter of fact, you have a right to arrest the officers without a citizen's arrest. It's time for us to have community oversight and control of the police department. And you better believe, as long as breath is in my body, it's endless pressure. Y'all know what it is. Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. If no one is taking the time to tell you that they love you, I love you. And there's nothing you can do about that.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Someone called 911 reporting shots fired at the Raceway on Broad Street. A woman was seen fleeing the scene in a car that reportedly did not belong to her. When the police and firefighters arrived, however, they discovered that no shots had actually been discharged. They determined that through talking with witnesses at the scene. That woman who fled was later found and interviewed, charges reportedly pending. McCamey Animal Center is offering a reward for any info on who dumped several sickly puppies near railroad tracks. They were found near Lightfoot Mill Road. A $500 reward offered for any info that leads to an arrest. Traffic delays coming soon. Ashland Terrace is going to be closed for over a month at Red Bank, as the city's engineering firm says the city's been advised to repair a culvert on Ashland Terrace at Dayton Boulevard. Construction starts on Wednesday. It'll continue